Well, here we are, just in the nick of time. In fact, so last minute this week, we've left our sponsor in the lurch, or should I say, in the kitchen. There's no time for that now, is there? You know, if you've not boiled the kettle in time, that's your own fault. Life goes on. You know, the brew goes cold, and that's the way it is. You know, we can't stop the program that is Full Board Vision. So welcome back. We're going to dive straight in this week. You know, we don't mess around on this stream. We get down to brass tacks straight away, and here we are. Chess Visitor 2020. Someone from the future dropping down to Earth to get spanked by Full Board Vision. Best of luck. Knight C3. Interesting. Vienna game, is it? I'm going to play knight here. F6, and they're going to go F4. I'm going to go D5. Alright, so this is I love this opening. It's great. Yeah, they come in here. Very aggressive. Was it Alekine's favourite? We take this guy here, right? They might play Queen F3. Yeah, they play Queen F3, which is everyone's favourite move, because it's quite hard to see what the best reply here is, and it's Knight C6. This looks like it just blunders a pawn, but it doesn't, because after Knight takes E4, we have this intermezzo Knight D4, which attacks the Queen. White knows this, so they've played Bishop B5, pinning the knight. Now then, I mean, now they really are threatening to trade on E4 and just win a pawn, excuse me. So maybe we should do something about that. There's a few things we could do. Well, maybe there are, maybe there aren't. Maybe there aren't many things we can do. This check is always possible. I don't think we want to do that yet. I think we've just got to take this. That will leave this guy hanging, and this guy's still pinned, but we could play at least Bishop E6. We don't need to defend that pawn anyway. I think we've got to do that. The thing is, they can take back with a D pawn opening at their bishop. Don't really like that. Don't like the look of that. Now then, I must have been in this position a million times. Should really know what to do here. Okay. Spider wants to get in on the game. Right, we've got to take this knight and then see what comes next. No brew. I'm all at C. Well, D takes C3 is so natural. Exactly. Okay, now we could play Bishop D7, unpin, threaten knight takes D4. We could play Bishop E6. I don't really know why we would do that. Or we could play Bishop C5 and just try to castle and say, yeah, don't mind if you capture here on C6. I like Bishop C5. I guess they'll play Bishop E3 to challenge. Are there any checks, captures to be aware of? I don't think so. I like Bishop C5. They're going to try and castle long, so we should probably try to prevent that. And Bishop E3 is just perfect for them, isn't it? So maybe we should play Bishop D7. We could play Bishop E7. Guess that means that after like Bishop E3 or probably Bishop F4, we could long castle. We could short castle, sorry. They'll castle long, and then we might be able to play Bishop G5. I kind of prefer that. If we play Bishop C5, they'll play Bishop E3. We have to probably throw in Queen E7. Yeah, and then this guy's hanging. Okay, let's go. Bishop E7. Keep it passive. Oh, they're going to try and castle kingside. I didn't think they'd do that. I guess we allowed that. The problem is that this now threatens, if we castle, we unpin and we attack the e5 pawn. Meaning that on castles they may well trade so that they can castle. Yeah, but then we've got... Then I feel like the position is fine for us. We've got the bishop pair. Always happy when we've got the bishops. Alright, so what happened? We lost a lot of time. Bishop f4, that's... Okay, that's an idea. Bishop g5 now. Bishop g5, we just try and trade them off. And then we've got queen takes, you've got to take, we take back, and this guy is undefended. We're threatening bishop g4 with a tempo. Quite like the look of all of that. We could also play f6. f6 looks like a good move here, actually. Why f6? Well, there's no e6 because we just capture it. And if you do take, we can even play rook takes, I think, there. We're not really opening our king up yet, because this d5 pawn is protected. And I guess, I mean, you can't allow this, right? Surely not. So I like f6. So bishop g5 we could play, I like f6. Any of the candidate moves? I don't think so. Yeah, I think f6. Let's go. What does our opponent have in mind? I don't think Lichess knows we're streaming. It's not got my little streamer icon. Anyway, I don't think the world knows we're streaming either. Because there's only 6,317 of you watching. Oh, 18. Now then, rook f6 looks good. Pins this guy. Bishop f6 also looks good, but rook f6 just looks better. I mean, it threatens g5. Not sure you want to play that, but at least it might keep our opponent thinking. Are there any captures, checks, threats? Don't think so. I think just rook f6. Bishop f6, does that do anything good? Rook f6. I guess a queen move is natural. What I'm looking for here is a bishop c5 preventing a short castle. And maybe we can try and take over. Ooh. String beats. Harris Haller on the C. Or shall we say, on the jukebox. Right, d4 we could try for. I guess there might be a problem with d4. They just remove the defender and then capture winning a pawn. And we've got pretty bad pawn structure there. Probably can't get away with that. If we play bishop c5 first, we might be able to do something. Maybe we want to get rid of this. I mean, this constellation looks a bit weird. I don't think we should be thinking of advancing in the center while this bishop is still here. We're behind in development. We need to take note of that. But our opponent still has their king in the center, so kind of double-edged. Who's better here? Oh, they've castled long. Ooh. I mean, allowing g5 just looks mental. Like, what's the rationale for that? What's the justification? You can play queen g3 and get out of it. True. Perhaps what our opponent hasn't taken into account is that we've got this move. But they have queen takes, rook takes. Yeah, okay. Hang on a minute. Okay, so bishop e6 is a natural move. Difficult. Okay, we could play bishop e6. I don't like the way our bishop is unprotected, but that's just the way it is. Anything else we could do? It's kind of interesting because if we advance this pawn and they take with a knight, we can actually play Rook takes bishop. Queen takes, because bishop g5 is going to pin and win the queen, by the looks of things. I think. So they'd have to take back with the pawn. And that would allow us to play g5. Okay, but still queen g3. Do we want to sack the pawn? Is there a justification for that? Guess I'll just play c takes d4, so probably not. Alright, bishop e6 looks like a thing. I feel like I'm missing something here. What about bishop d3? d6, sorry. Nah, this is going to get captured. Okay. Let's give it a shot. I feel like most likely they'll trade and play knight d4 and we'll drop back, but that kind of looks okay, so let's try it out. Now this means that we can play knight e5 next, maybe. Follow it up with c6. Okay, that's what I thought might be played. Now this is protected. I think we want this bishop out of there. That's not a problem. I don't see any problems right now. See any threats? Ah, this might be a threat. Well, I don't think it is. We just go here. They're going to take us, we take that. Ooh, this is a thing. Okay, that might be a problem. No, because then we've got bishop g5. They take us, we take with check, so that's also not a problem. But this might be a problem. If we play h6, they take on c6, we take back, they go here, we go rook g6, they play knight f4. Oh no, first they capture here, and then they go knight f4. We go here, and then they attack our pinned bishop. That doesn't look good. Okay, so then what about this? They go here. Or we could just go here. I fancy this. Fancy this for the reason that bishop g5, we've got rook e6. Which might win a piece, actually. And we're making a threat here, right? If they defend here, it's toast. We take this, they take, we take, they go here, and we pin their queen to their king. So we did make a threat with our 53 seconds left to their 8 minutes. This is how it always goes, We chatter away. Oh look, and they fell for it, look. Cool. Nice one. Don't mind a free piece. Happy days. Alright, chess visitor. Time to turn on the swindle. Alright, knuckle down, knuckle down. Knuckle down. We made a cheap threat. We got away with it. Or it worked, shall we say. We didn't get away with anything. We just, laid a trap. We set a trap. And we snared our opponent. Ensnared them. That's right.
Hanging piece.
That's what that was. The knight on f4. Cool. All right, so what should they do now? The game is not over. Need to make the most of it. Maybe drop the queen in. Okay, that's one way of doing it. We could go here and... Ooh, we can't do that. It gives away a whole rook. Okay, perhaps... So this is coming in, which is going to be a check. Maybe we should just drop all the way back and threaten this. Or maybe we can go here. And it actually defends that because we can play this. You know? But there's a queen e3 check out. We don't want that. Maybe we should just go rook f6. No, I think we should just go back rook f8, honestly. I don't see any problems. That's kind of annoying, actually. If we go back rook f6, we can respond to that with rook d6, which I quite like. Okay, let's do that. And we've got a whole extra piece here, but we've only got 13 seconds. Okay, let's go into the corner. Oh shit, this is hanging now. Bollocks. We fucked it. Oh, they missed it! Wasn't that just curtains for us? Now we go there. So this is now pinned, which is great. Want to play bishop f6, want to play knight e7, just take this thing, bishop f6. Just get everything out of the way, maybe even knight b4. Then we can play c6, maybe even knight d5, and then we can actually take this pawn, knight e5 rather, to threaten the pawn on c4. Okay, now we can just trade pieces if we want, but it's probably not even necessary. We can just go here. Quite happy to trade here and just drop back to e7. This pawn is hanging. Everything on dark squares to avoid the opponent's bishop. We really screwed that up. They had bishop c6. I think we were just, you know, we gave the piece back. Yeah, that's what I thought. So queen here. I'm aware that this is hanging, but I don't think it's a problem. Our opponent then has two pawns for the piece, but we can just attack it, or we can trade the rooks off. And then this is hanging. I'll have to do something about it. And we'll also be threatening checkmate in that position if they trade. So I guess we just go cover the d file. Although this could be a good move. Okay, so they've gone there, which makes sense. I'm just going to go here. Threaten this. And with everything on dark squares, it just makes it much easier to defend and to understand what's going on. I think we're actually threatening this pawn now, right? They can trade queens, but still they can't capture this. Okay, they've put... Oh, shit. That's pinned. Oh, but there's no threat on it, right? There's no threat. We just take it back with the knight. With the bishop, sorry. But what we can't do is capture here. Oh, actually we can capture here. Oh, we can definitely capture there now. Also, we can then capture here. We might be able to play this as well and just take this off. Oh, I think there's curtains now. We should be able to do this. What do we have to look out for? Back rank mates? Maybe this is a move. And if we go there, then with the king, we take this down. No, yeah. Then there's a back rank mate, so problems. Yeah, we just want to get rid of that bishop with a fork. Looking okay, but it's tense. 12 seconds on the clock. Why do we do this to ourselves every time? Every time. You know, we're not just playing against the opponent, we're playing against our terrible clock management. Time management. Anyway, this is too much. What if they play king here? King f c1 to... okay, well that's just a hanging queen, so we'll take that. And that looks like game over. Good game, chess visitor. You came down to earth with a bang. Well, not really a bang, more of a thud, I'd say, you know, just a deep earthy sound and the dust, you know, slowly rising into the air. But good game, well played. I enjoyed that. Let's have a quick look at the analysis. Let's request a computer analysis. I've got a very lonely tea mug in the kitchen. You know, I might be whipping off to befriend it. Right, so we're just waiting for Stockfish server analysis to take place. Okay, so we actually didn't do too badly. This graph here shows us that, you know, it was fairly even. We kind of let them white gain an advantage, and then something went horribly wrong, and we did okay. I guess what went horribly wrong is this will be where we play bishop g4. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a quick look and see what we should have done here. Here's the important position. So knight takes c3 was correct, and here queen h4 check apparently is correct, but so is bishop e7. So it's a perfectly fine move. Engine likes this slightly better. I mean, what's the idea? Queen g4, queen h4 check. They play g3. A queen e4. Okay, so the idea is that this endgame, we've both got these odd pawns in the center. Engine likes black slightly better, but that's even. We could go into that endgame. Looks okay. For sure, that's not what a Vienna player wants. I wouldn't have thought so. Anyway, we kept the pieces on. Castles is fine. f6, we found it. That was the best move. So not bad. ef, and then, right, rook takes f6 was not correct. But not, yeah, well, and then long castles is good. We should have captured with the bishop, apparently. It's not that clear. It's not that obvious to me why. Actually, so this was the top line. Queen e3? Ah, right. Now here we should have played bishop f7, but still. Okay, and here h3 was a major blunder for this reason, and that was kind of the end of it. Not really, I mean, we didn't make any mistakes here, so not really worth looking at the rest of that, but okay. The thing to take away from this game, I guess, is that bishop f6. Yeah, I mean, rook f6. Concretely, there's probably a reason why it's not great. And I guess that's in this position, rook h e1. Okay, that kind of makes a bit of sense. Rook h e1, excuse me. He's piling up on the e-file where, you know, we've got things protecting this e7 bishop, but that knight can be liquidated straight away, so makes sense. Whereas, I guess the pieces are in a bit more of harmony here. The bishop's protected, it's improved. The rook is, you know, on a semi-open file. If we move the bishop out of the way somehow, we might do something with this rook, but it could also move to the e-file. Yeah, just a little bit more harmony, I guess, and a bit more stability in the position. That wasn't a bad game to start off with. Let's move on. Now, at some point, I'm going to run off into the kitchen to get me brew, so hope that's all right with you guys. Oh, we need to go back to this scene while it's loading. You see, professional. That's what my media team have been instructing me on. Okay, so we're back in. Very Beautiful Man 1007. Playing the French defense. And has found themselves in the midst of the Schlechter variation. The tricky Schlechter variation with bishop d3. Alright, what they're going to do. You can play knight f6. If you like to play like that. The idea is that, you know, you want to trade and go, aha, I get a tempo hitting your bishop with knight f6, which is, I'm sure, what's going to happen. f6. Mouth slip? Yeah, I'm going to allow that take back because f6 is not what they meant. They meant knight f6. I'm sure. I'm sure that's what they meant. Yeah. Bishop f3. Now c5. Okay, fair enough. And we could take this pawn, but I don't think we should. We could also play bishop e3. Or we could play knight e2. I think we want to play knight e2, to be honest. And if they capture this pawn, we'll just go into that endgame. That looks fine for us. Yes, our opponent has this central pawn, but we've got a knight on d4, which is going to attack b5. Alright, so bishop e3, we're just, you know, we're playing around d4. Let's go, knight takes d4. That's interesting. Okay. Now then, should we just castle? We could castle. What's going on in this position? Black wants to take off our light square bishop, which is fair. It's the pride of our position. Do we want to move that bishop to e2, for example, to try and save it, where it meets this knight quite well? We could do that. Or do we want to just castle and say, yeah, you can have that, but I'm just going to have a big lead in development? Oh, that looks equally good. And bishop e2 just seems a bit like, I don't know, what's the bishop doing there? Knight's going to land here. Well, they're not going to land there. But so if we do concretely allow this, is e5 a move? I don't think so. That just feels wrong. That feels wrong. So let's just castle. All right, we don't lose a tempo. We're going to have a big lead in development, and black's going to have to justify the bishop pair, you know, and a bad bishop here on c8 due to these light square pawns. Currently a bad bishop. You know, you could probably play b6, bishop e7, but not yet because your rook's hanging. Black's going to have to justify this loss of time somehow. And that's how. Bishop c5. Yes. Threatening to win a piece. Now we could play knight b5. And then be threatening to take this bishop. We could also play rook d1, which I like very much because it threatens to take this pawn. And if they trade like so, we hit their queen. So probably on rook d1, they'll play queen b6. I say probably, maybe. And then it's interesting because we might have knight e6. No, we don't have knight e6. Okay, we might have knight b3. I don't know. Maybe we've just got c3. Maybe knight b5 is a good move. So here, rook d1 is an idea. Knight b5 looks like an idea. c3 looks possible, but it looks a bit slow. Otherwise, I don't see what else we can do. Oh, what about knight e6? I think we can play knight e6. Yeah, knight e6, if they take us, we obviously take their queen. But if they take us like this, you know, if they recapture the knight, probably with the bishop actually, we take their c5 bishop. That's a victory for candidate search before calculation, right? Should have just been like, what are the moves in the position? Oh well, there's a capture there. Why not? Why not consider that? Okay, it just looks good. It just looks good. The queen is attacked. Can the queen move with any kind of menace? I mean, we're just going to take this if the queen moves. Free piece. So you've got to capture with the bishop, most certainly. And then we get bishop c5. Our king is safe. Our bishop is loose temporarily, but that looks good. Looks good to me. Let's just check. I mean, there's no way even to attack our queen, so... Bishop e3, just to be careful, we just take that queen. So let's go. Looks like that was a big mistake from Very Beautiful Man. Very beautiful. You know. Strong in the looks department. Which is always nice. But unfortunately that's not the quality you need in these endeavors. Beauty, you know, doesn't count for much unless it's, you know, on the board. Bishop c5 was was far from jolly. Right. All right, we won a pawn. It's not much, is it? But I think we also solved all the problems, or any problems we had in our position. Queen c7 played. All right, what could we do? I mean, it's kind of annoying they can't castle. We could drop the bishop back to a3. We could bring our queen to a3. We could play queen c3. Don't like that. We could play queen e3. Don't really like that either. I quite like bishop a3, to be honest. Yeah, c2 will be hanging. But then b7 is also hanging. I don't think black wants to castle long. Somehow, I just don't think they do. Not with the queen sat there on c7. So that's an idea. I think we could also play b4. That's kind of annoying, isn't it? b4. But maybe it's also completely unnecessary. Bishop a3 is kind of annoying as well, a little bit though. It's a bit annoying for us, having to park the bishop there. Yeah, but maybe it's fine. Maybe we could play like so. b3, c4, and knight c3, and just push this, you know, eventually push our queenside majority. Okay, so let's just calculate this line. If they take on c2, we take on b7, we attack this rook. They can't castle, it's not legal, and they have to defend that somehow or move it. And that looks like a very good trade for us. We'll just play knight c3, complete our development. So let's go bishop a3. I guess there's a bishop d5 maybe coming our way, but there's a rook e1 check, so I think we've got a good position here. Very beautiful man. 1007. Played rather an ugly move. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now then, I think b3 is fine. Obviously then there's no queen c2 because we've got rook c1, which does threaten to take the queen. Pins the queen. b3, c4, knight c3. It's kind of slow. Maybe we could play c4 first. I don't think so. But what we want to limit this bishop. We don't want to put that there. We can't play knight d2. So maybe b3, c4 is just fine. What do they do? If they give us a check, sorry, not a check. If they attack our queen, we can give a check and then push c4, I believe. So I'm just going to go like this and put the question to them. There's no queen c2 because of rook c1. c4 is coming. Then we just play knight c3. Knight goes to b5 maybe. Looking good. Looking good. Okay, come on, beautiful man. 1007. Alright, so what do you do in this position if you're black? Just try to do something active. I guess try and get your pieces active. Just hope that your king is not going to come under attack. And that it's okay having this wobbly king for a moment. Because, you know, white's actually not very well developed now. That all their active pieces came off. Their active bishop ended up down here. Okay, knight g4. That's threatening a mate. And I guess they want us to go g3 to create some holes. But I mean, we can just trade that queen off. Like, that's fine. That is fine. I think it's fine. Okay, how else could we defend this mate? Obviously, we can't go h3. We could go g3, but we don't want to create a hole for this bishop to jump in at any point, I don't think. So I think this is good. Any other way we can defend here? I think so. Okay, so let's see. They'll trade, we'll take back, and then they'll try and do something. We're stuck kind of playing c4 and knight c3. I don't know. G3 just looks like a terrible move to play, honestly. It really does. And so this knight's not doing a great job now. It's attacking these dark squares because it can't really collaborate with the bishop. And the rook currently doesn't have any entry points, right? D2 is covered by the knight. D3 is covered by the pawn, D1 by the rook. So we might be able to play c4, then knight c3, and then challenge the d file. And then proceed with our plan of pushing our queenside majority to try to create a passed pawn. Then kingside castles, long castle, sorry, makes kind of sense for black, that their king is in the right place to try to prevent the passed pawn, or to defend against the passed pawn that we're going to try to create. Okay, so black obviously didn't want to trade queens. It's fair enough. Otherwise, they'd probably have done it by now. Are we missing something? Because now there's some problems. They take. Oof. I think they could have taken on c2. If played rook c1, they could take the rook. Right? We take the bishop, and then this was a mate. Wow. Wow. Okay, do we do this? I don't think we do that. I think we do this. If we do that, we open this rook. Yes. Maybe this is the move. To keep the pawns on the side of the board. We could capture it this way or this way. What's it to be? This way opens the rook, but it leaves the e3 square weak. We don't want a knight jumping into e3. No way. I think we blundered our c2 pawn there. I really think we did. Okay. Now then, do we just play c4 and let it happen? Or do we play knight c3, give away this pawn, so that we can play knight b5, or maybe knight d5? I think we just play c4, honestly. What does it allow? Rook d3? It's an annoying move to face, actually, rook d3. Rook d3. There's kind of no way out there. Bishop b2, and it's gonna be a problem. Okay, what about bishop b2, so we can play knight a3? Under the impression that this can't work. I think knight c3 is the move. Yeah, then there might be knight b5 and bishop d6. And knight c7 if the king goes over here. I think we've got to give the pawn back, honestly. I think we've just got to do that, unfortunately. So let's try it. At least it looks risky, right? Okay, now we can defend that pawn. Could also play knight b5, I think. So, but I think we should just defend the pawn. Okay, and try and get this knight somewhere decent, like e2. Probably they're going to go rook d2 on the, yeah, that's the whole idea. Can't do that yet. We can play knight b5, I think. Ah, but then they can actually just go like this. Alright, problems. Yeah, that's annoying. This is really annoying. Alright, no they can't. We've got a bishop move, or we can move the knight into d6. So knight b5. If they capture here, we can give a check. Rook takes, bishop takes. Well, actually, we can just give a check anyway. Even on this move, we could give a check. There might be a windmill there. Okay, let's just see what happens. If they take this pawn, I don't know. Yeah. Well played to them. they made their activity count and they won their pawn back. Probably. But we might just have got out of it alive. Bishop c2 feels wrong somehow. Rook c2. Okay, doubles the rooks. Okay, understood. That makes sense. But now we've got c4. Right, so let's just play that. Now the knight can go back to c3 and hopefully land on d5. And we're just a pawn up. And if they go here, we just don't react. Right? Well, actually, we just win a free rook. They're holding on for some sort of back rank mates, aren't they? Because the knight covers h2. So if a rook somehow makes its way to the back rank, when it's not covered, it'll be a mate. But that's just not going to happen. Bishop here will just move. Ah, that's a problem. Is that a problem? This is going to hang. Yes, but... Okay, it looks like our f-pawn is going to hang. Even worse than that. Perhaps not worse. Okay, let's see what we can do. Okay, we need to give this check. I think, do we need to give it? Maybe we don't. I think we should. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, now we could go here. But I think I'm just going to retreat the bishop and threaten a check on d6. Now bishop d3 might be a move. I think we might have time for this. We might even have time for this. Complex position. But we only got 9 seconds. I think we're going to go down here, in all honesty. This is a threat. So bishop d3 looks like the most natural move in the world. But the question is, what if they go to e2? To d7. Oh, we can take here. Can we? I guess we could then play rook e1. This pawn hangs, but then this pawn hangs. But this looks like the obvious move. Ooh, that could be an idea. Maybe on bishop d3, even rook d1 is good. Because then when the bishop moves, we have a discovery. Okay, so bishop d3 looks actually difficult. Maybe you've got to defend against knight d6. Maybe you do have to. I mean, we managed to get a decent position. This rook is not good. And this knight is excellent. Okay. That didn't work out for our opponent, unfortunately. This knight bishop is hanging. And if they try to take the rook with the rook, then unfortunately we capture back. Alright, so I think we just won a pawn. Can we play knight e3 next? They're going to double rooks. Yeah, okay. They're going to take this. We got problems. Try and get in here. I guess the point is that, I mean, they're going to take with a knight, maybe? It's looking very, very difficult for us here. Just because of the nature of the double rooks and the 5 seconds on the clock. So, I mean, what even happens after this and this? I guess we can go here. But what does it bring? If they go here, there's a fork, so they can't do that. If they go here... Oh. We can drop into c3. We might be able to attack the rook that way. Now there's this and this, which is beautiful. Once the rook moves. So rook b2, we take on f2. They go rook f2, we go knight d5, e4, check, and we win a whole piece. So the rook has to go here, I guess. We take, they take, we take, they take, and it's evens. Yeah, rook c2 I think is the only move. They find it. Boom. Didn't work though, did it? We win a piece. Well done. Found it with hardly any time on the clock. The 16 seconds. We're going to be a piece up and we might be winning. And we got room for the king. Boom. All right, don't lose this knight. Whatever you do. Okay. Is it getting trapped? I don't know. Oh, it's the only place it can go. Okay, but now this spot is secure. We could also go here. That looks annoying. Maybe we need to keep the knight on. Let's keep the knight on. So we can give a check here. Okay. Actually, we need to defend this pawn. Alright, so they got 2 pawns for that piece and a very active king. They're going to try and push this pawn. So we need to do something quickly. Oof. So what is that? Maybe it's this. Go on. They'll take it with the king, probably. No, we're attacking the rook. So they have to take it with the rook, but then we've got rook b2, which wins the b7 pawn. So we'll see what happens. Okay, they decided to attack our rook. Knight, sorry. Now they can't take it with the king because of fork. And we'll just push. Okay, now we attack this rook. We're going to give a check. We're going to get our rook at the back. And we hopefully can stop this pawn. I mean, if they manage to win this game, it's really just by... I don't know. We can't go there, can we? No, but we can go here, which looks attractive. Looks very attractive. Okay, now we might be able to take this and get our own pass pawn. And then sack our rook for this one. So we might be in business now. Guess I've got to try and... Okay. Yeah. Okay, that pawn can't actually be captured because there's a fork. So if we go here, did we allow this? I guess we did. Which was probably a bit silly. Shit. Okay, now we're going to fight for the draw. How are we going to do that? Like this, I guess. So we take this pawn. Yeah, maybe we can get something out of this. Okay, well, let's just advance the king. Let's try and get round. We can never take this pawn because we'll advance this one. So this rook is in a bit of a spot. If we go here, they'll capture that with checks. So we should probably... Well, let's do it anyway. We get to take this. Okay, let's go. Now we can push g4. Ooh. I feel like we might just be able to get something out of this now. I mean, a draw. Maybe we can get this pawn with the king and then we get a draw. Now maybe, I don't know. I just want to get to a position where we can't lose, that's all. Can they take this for a draw? It's close. Yes, I think so. Which they probably should do, because I don't think they've got any winning chances here. I mean, they could be losing soon. We should just advance. Problem is that this is not going to work, right? Because we got this. And this is just gonna, this is gonna queen. King has no time to take that. Looks like we're just winning. Looks like we're winning. Did we do it? Did we do it? Did we outplay this very beautiful man? 1007. In a terrible ending. Terrible it was. Maybe we did. Alright, how can they feasibly get at this? They could give a check and bring the rook to the back. Then we can probably defend this pawn again and try and push. That's probably what... Ah, they can't do that. Haha. The knight protects it. Nice. Alright, so they're in big trouble. They're in deep. In too deep. What about this? We advance. Nope. Then you can't... You know, you can't move adjacent. Alright. This looks like we're queening a pawn. Yep, we are. Okay, great stuff. I don't think there's a problem with capturing that, but I think we can also capture it with the queen. Alright, we've got a ton of material. We don't want to go there. Well, we actually can go there. No, it's a bit silly though. I mean, we could bring the knight in the way. Okay, now we should be able to just finish this off. Okay, let's improve the queen. We'll bring the queen down here for a check if they block, which they have done. Okay. So what we need to do here is not run out of time. If we just keep making good moves, eventually we should be able to win this rook somehow. Yeah, we just need to keep cracking on. Don't lose time, and try to split the king and the rook up like we just did. Now then. Give a check here. The king will go back there. Alright, now I fancy bringing this knight in. This threatens a check here, which will again separate the king and the rook. A check here is fine. We'll just bounce the king. Yeah, bounce. Let's bounce this way. This allows a queen d5, so they'll probably block that. Okay, they haven't blocked it. Hang on. That looks tasty. This looks really bad. You've got to go here. Another check. Beware of this. Now this check. The king's running out of squares. Don't want to allow checks from the rear at this point. Okay, so let's give a check here. Hang on. This rook's en prise, right? But our king is kind of in the way. Okay, that threatens a mate. We should be able to walk the king round. This checkers are coming. Don't go this way, right? Do not go that way. Okay. Now then. Alright, we should be able to do something here. This is a nice check. King will have to go here. He can't go there, it's mate. But then there's a knight check. And... okay. I think we're winning now, right? Because has this forces here, and then there's a skewer. Yeah, nice. Okay, not bad, not bad. All right, not a bad couple of games. Yeah, let's have a look there, because I think we were doing well and then just blew it. So I'll be interested to see what happened. All right, let's have a look. Yes. Okay, but it was always drawn. Oof. We had a big advantage here. Oh, goodness. Ooh. Lots happened. Okay, let's have a look. Here we were winning. Of course we were. And what should we have done? Knight c7. Yeah, that was... I didn't even see that option. Knight c7. That's way better than this, because the king just comes in and wins another pawn. Whereas here, the knight's going to go on a rampage. It's going to get to d5. We might even be able to defend this pawn via rook f3 even. So, yeah, that was poor. But still. We kept things moving. We just about maintained some semblance of the initiative. And here, yeah, so we made the right knight b5 apparently. I mean, okay, I get that this is decent. c6. Okay. This was... Well, apparently it wasn't that bad because the alternatives weren't that good. King b2. Okay. And we made the right moves actually, in a way, to give ourselves the best chance. This is all fully drawn, and then the key sort of mistake, or the last mistake I think for black, was probably here. Here, right, bringing the king back. And we push f6. Yeah, and we block the rook's defense. And I think here we were just guaranteed to queen. Yeah, from there, probably didn't play the most accurate moves, but you don't have to. All right, those were some good games. We're going to be back in 5 minutes. I'm just going to go and replenish. Well, it's not even replenish, is it? Just plenish. Plenish the mug. And yeah, we'll be back in 5 minutes. Oh, that's right. We're back. We're back. I know. I know. Look, it was only 5 minutes. All right, calm yourselves. Blimey, I'm away for 5 minutes and you can't keep yourselves to yourselves. Right, let's jump back. That was an interesting game. I'm just gonna quickly go back because there was an interesting point. I think it was prior to all of this. We lost control of the position. So it's here after they played knight g4. Oh, look at what the best move is. Queen c3. That is such a good move. How do we defend this mate? Pin the queen. What a great move. And if they trade, then we get our knight out. We play queen g3, which is a good move. We still have the advantage. We took with the h pawn, which was correct. On a bishop f5, we played knight c3. Okay, but my thinking was what? That actually here they could play queen c2. Right, so my thinking was if they take queen c2, it looks like they're hanging their queen with rook c1, but I think rook c1 would be a blunder. Queen c1 check, bishop c1, and then rook d1 is mate. So, but I guess there must be some reason. I mean, yeah, actually, can we throw in h3? Hit the knight, and once the knight moves, then we'll be able to play rook c1. Many moves win here, but h3 is one of them apparently. Yeah, and then they have to sacrifice the knight. Okay, and I guess the reason for that is that if you go back f6, and you say knight d2 even is very strong. But what about rook c1? Rook c1 isn't good because there's rook d1, right? Yeah, rook d1 and it's alright, but you can play this. What? That's insane. Wow, I'd never found that. I guess on rook d2, we can just play rook c1. Yeah, either rook to c1, and we pick up material. Right? Well, actually, you take the rook, of course. And if queen takes, then unfortunately, I guess rook c1. d7 is the only way to avoid big material loss, and then just rook d1 at least. Okay. Yeah. But we did lose control of the position at some point, so let's just check out what we missed. Here was where we had a better move. We played c4, bishop e7. Okay. What's that about? Yeah, I thought rook d5. Okay, that's clever. Right, it's clever. You get c4 with a tempo, and you're just taking all the squares away from this rook. This move? Bishop g5, okay. Okay, so the idea was to get the bishop active with some tempos against the rooks. Instead we played c4, and we still have an advantage. After bishop d6, which we did, bishop c5, b4. Well, it's actually g5. Could have just taken that pawn. We won the pawn this way. Oh, that wasn't good, apparently. Did we have a double check here? Knight b5 check. Isn't that where the knight came from, though? Okay, so the engine is saying this is okay if you repeat moves. Anyway, okay, let's jump back in. Oh, hang on, splash screen. Alright, here we go. So, 2-0 up. We're going to have another couple of games, and here we go. So we've got the black pieces against Glassman. Playing the d4. Fair dues. Best move to play against me, because I hate it. We're going to get into a Grunfeld, probably. Knight c3, d5. Alright, we've got our work cut out. You know, the Grunfeld's highly theoretical, and I used to think, yeah, give me all that theory. Let's play deep. And now I'm just like, it's too much. It's just too much. It's too much to learn. There's too many variations. There's too many different ideas, and you just feel like your opponent knows their line better than you do, because there's so many ways to play against the Grunfeld. But this one, actually, I don't mind that. Now this bishop's not come in to e3. They've decided not to take on d5 and trade, you know, and erect a big center. Big white center. Alright, well, we'll do it this way. I mean, you can't go e4 now after you've wasted a move on e3, surely. I mean, you can, but you'll just be a tempo down on what you could have had if you just played e4 to start with. Alright, bishop c4. Right, now we've got a choice. We can defend the knight, or we could trade, liquidate so we don't lose a tempo, or we can drop back to b6 and hit the bishop. This doesn't look so bad. This is attractive. I quite like the idea of c6 in some way. We want to play c5 next, I guess. So if we trade and play c5, kind of in a decent place. What might other options be? But while we're at it, let's get the playlist restarted. All right, so this, I mean, you don't really want the knight on b6, but you know, maybe it's not so bad. It gives us a tempo. I feel like c5 is kind of ineffective against c3 because we're not really threatening anything, and they'll always have a center. Maybe we've got e5 in those positions, but presently we need to defend this. Do we have time for bishop e6? That does threaten knight takes c3, which hits the queen and the unprotected bishop. And if everything gets traded, maybe that's okay. Of all the moves, that's the one I like the most, I'm afraid. Anyway, cheers to the sponsor. Tesco Gold. A generic tea. Nothing gold about it. They should call it bronze. They should be clear that it's like it's a third tier leaf in a bag. You know, they should make it clear. Instead, they call it gold, you know, like it's the winning tea, like it's won some kind of award, which it quite blatantly hasn't. You know, this wonderful mug with the common loon, also known as the Great Northern Diver. You know, this tea does not deserve this mug. Not one bit. Alright, so we've set up a silly tactic, or a cheapo, which was to take the knight. And they've defended that in what's probably the most natural way, which is queen b3, which puts another attack on our knight and also attacks our b7 pawn. Now then, we could play c6 and allow this pawn to be captured. But that looks a bit problematic. We could take this, they're going to take us there. That looks a bit suspect. So maybe now's the time. Yeah, we've kind of stuffed it up. If we play knight b6 now, they're going to win a pawn. So, problems. If we play knight c3 and they capture us here, what can we do? I guess we're going to capture that. Oh, that looks awful. Okay, queen b3, allowing this was a pretty big oversight. So can we get away with some c6? Queen takes b7. Then c6, knight c3, sorry, they capture us. Oof. This is awful. This is totally awful. Should really have seen that as well. Should have seen that. The problem is that c6, queen here, if we move the knight, then they just take this. We've just given up 2 pawns. I guess maybe we could play rook c8 in that position. But come on, I mean, do we have to do that? Knight d7. Queen c6, rook c8. That looks terrible, but honestly, the other options look even worse. Gotta make something happen. I mean, they don't look even. I mean, this looks even worse than them, but those ones just look like, you know, they're going to take on e6, they're going to bust up our kingside pawns, and maybe we could have castled and had an open rook, but at least in this line we get rook c8 in, and that will chase the queen away. And then we might be able to take on c3, and I mean, probably we're still losing on e6, so this just looks awful. You know, I'm not sure, actually. I mean, we might win the c3 pawn back because our rook will be on the c-file. So this is what I'm expecting. Queen b7, knight d7, queen c6, rook c8. Where will the queen go? I think the queen has to go somewhere. I mean, you could try this, but probably not. You get a lot of material for your queen. 3 pawns and a rook and a knight. But still. Probably not that. So, but if the queen moves from that position after queen b7, well, let's just see that. I mean, there's no other move. You've got to play knight d7. The knight is hanging on a6. The rook is hanging. Maybe we could actually play knight. I overlooked that. We can play knight b6, and then the queen is trapped. The queen is trapped. Knight b6. We can even play. All right, we can't. Oh my word, it's so close. Bishop c1, queen a8, knight b6, but then there's queen a7. So we can't, the queen gets out. Okay, but what about queen b6? Then they get out that way. Okay, so I don't think we can trap the queen with bishop c8 after they, you know, giving a rook up for it, unfortunately. Okay, but we can play knight b6. They'll take our bishop, we take back, and then the queen is trapped. We just need to attack it a second time, but it looks quite difficult. How do you attack it a second time? Looks too slow. All right, let's just investigate this again. We take our rook. Is there a move? What about knight takes c3? They take back, and then queen b6. Because then bishop b7's come in, right? There doesn't seem to be any way out of that. That's deep. That is deep. Does it work? I mean, at any rate, they can just take the queen back, but let's say they do take the rook. Knight takes c3. It threatens bishop c4, so maybe you can actually take bishop e6 there. Oh no, the bishop isn't on e6. Okay. Let's say they take back. Queen b3, and the threat is bishop b7. I guess it's unfortunate, but maybe the bishop a6 there? Because his knight's pinned. Oh, it's not pinned, but it sort of is. Notice we got bishop takes. I think it might work. Bishop here. Queen takes, knight takes c3, bc3, queen b6. Threatening bishop. There's a problem. Bishop b7 doesn't work. They take our knight. Okay, so we need to snap out of all of this and just unfortunately give that up. We'll have a look at that afterwards. It's not looking good. Alright, so we're going to go 2 pawns down, but we are going to get an active rook on the c-file, probably. Unless they choose actually to just do that. Wow. Okay, but hang on a second. Now after we capture, if they take back, it's mandatory that queen defends the knight, which we'll have to do from c3. Yeah, but then there's rook c8. Now that looks dodgy. That looks a bit dodgy. This does look a bit dodgy. I guess what they're after is rook, this knight c7. Okay. Yeah, so we could play rook c8. Yep, but we can also play queen a5 check, which forces knight c3. Okay, rook c8, we can play queen a5 check as well. Queen a5 check, knight c3. Because the problem is our rook is hanging, but we've got rook b8. That forces queen here. Yeah, then there's rook c8, and then we might be able to actually take that knight. The queen will have to defend it. That looks difficult. That looks difficult. Queen a4, knight c3. Queen a5, sorry, knight c3 check. Rook b8. I think the only move. The queen can actually disappear. Okay. Alright, but maybe we've got something. Okay, anything else be played? Queen b5? No. Well, queen b5 can actually be played. That's insane. Take and they go here and they win it back. Oh, but it's a check, so they can't play queen b5. Right. Oh, it's beautiful as well. Like, we recapture. After bishop d2, we recapture and we defend our rook. Alright, queen a5 is try and make something happen. Okay, a couple of moves. We could actually castle here. Or we can play rook b8, which looks good. It's going to prevent a bishop d2. I think. Are we missing something? Don't think so. Alright, so we got the bishop pair. We're 2 pawns down and we've got a big lead in development. So somehow maybe our idea of trying to get something out of this horribly lost position has worked. I think we're probably still worse, considerably worse, and very low on time. Should have done all that much quicker. And at least tried to, have something on the clock. Alright, I'm expecting, I don't think queen c6 looks wrong. Yeah, there's no rook c8 like I thought before, because the rook would be hanging, but there is castles. And in fact, there's also, no, there isn't. It looks good because the knight's pinned, but once they capture your bishop and you capture back, the knight's no longer pinned, so you just lose a piece. So we're going to castle short, we're going to try and bring our other rook to c8. Yeah, that's the idea. This doesn't work. This is a bad move. I don't think you can play bishop d2 now, so... Are they going to try e4? d5, sorry? No, that doesn't work, I don't think. I mean, this just opens everything up, right? Exactly what we want. We're going to probably do this. And then it's just some trade on c3 is going to benefit us. Wait, we could also play knight e5 maybe. If we go here, they could. Yeah, I'm expecting this. Honestly, okay, not played. That move makes sense. I think this seems too obvious. Is there a way of making it more challenging? Let's just do it anyway. Right, should we try and get the knight to c4? Does that look like a good idea? Maybe the bishop to c4 looks like a good idea. Oh, maybe bishop f5 now looks like a very good idea. Are we worried about that? Okay, I think this is a move. Somehow, maybe, nah. Don't think that's a move anymore. Okay, let's just try to go all in. Knight b6. Are they going to be able to castle? Probably. At least we get knight c4 in. This doesn't work. Now we are threatening bishop. Okay, not anymore, but then let's play knight c4. Is this just going to win a piece? We've got bishop f5, luckily. This was such a poor game. This was really poor. But fair enough, these things happen. It's a Grunfeld, isn't it? This is why I should not play the Grunfeld anymore. But yeah, bishop e6 was just bad. Queen b3 just killing us. I hope you heard that sneeze in the background. Alright, what's that? Maybe we're going to drop back to d6. Okay, now actually we're getting somewhere because we can get 2 pieces back for our rook. Unless the queen goes to like d3, yeah, and then we can drop this in, right? e4, can we beat e4 somehow? We could go rook takes. Oh, Jesus Christ. I think we've just got to induce this, unfortunately. Probably wasn't a great idea. Got to make something happen. Queen takes. Oh shit, I just hung my queen. I thought they'd played the queen. Alright. Oh, pre-moved queen takes e3, and that's the end of that game. That was a poor game. That happens. Let's let them finish this off for the fans. Come on, Glasman. Okay. Let's just keep harassing this queen. At least we're going to get to take this pawn. Unless they go... Well, yeah, they're going to take here. We're going to take that, which harasses the... Okay, let's go like so. That does actually threaten to take this. Please. There's a fork. So we might be winning this. Oh, well, thank you very much. Right, so, okay. We're an exchange and a pawn down, but we have got the bishop pair. So we might have a chance to save this now. Okay, I think we need to not trade rooks. Can we do anything here? Probably we need to go back here, in all honesty. Try to do something with the pawns. That's probably just a good shout from them to trade into this position, giving up the queen. Now, where do we want this bishop d6? If this bishop moves, oh, we've got problems. We have got problems. Many, many, many problems. Alright, let's try that. At least we attack this pawn. Okay, the rook has no entry point at the moment, so that's good at least. Alright, now at least we can do something like this. Force them to defend this pawn. And how do you defend that? Like so? Okay. Now we bring back to d6, I think. We bring back to d6. We bring it back to d6. This comes with a tempo, so we don't have time to take. And then they're just going to throw these pawns down our throat, and that's going to be the end of us. But I don't think there is a but, to be honest. That's just the way it is. Okay, now we can we... That at least prevents this. Well, it doesn't even prevent it. They can probably just go right ahead and give away the A pawn and keep the B pawn. Okay. Let's try and get the king somewhere. So he's decided he doesn't want to push the pawns anymore. He's going to improve the king. Or they've decided. Whoever they are. Glass man. Well, I guess it's a he then. None. And then, so what the hell's going on here? Alright. So what you do. Prevent them from advancing by covering them both on the same diagonal. And then, I don't know, maybe we drop our bishop here. We've got big problems. Big problems afoot. Yeah, I thought that might come, so let's go here. Actually, is that rook trapped? That rook is trapped. Ah, it gets to this square. How is it? This one? Probably go here. No, then we can actually attack the rook. Ooh, there's some nice coordination from white here. Look, we're getting absolutely destroyed here. I think they could probably just give the exchange back and advance. That probably is fine. Completely winning because of these two. Ooh, okay, doesn't want to. Well, we're repeating moves here, I think, so that's good for us. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's good for them. Just take a bit of time off us. Right, so they want to advance. That makes sense. So we'll just park the bishop there. Probably we're going to see this move. Then I want to go here. This rook's going to move, and then I'm going to go here and try and just plonk the bishop on a7. Okay, this is interesting because he can't advance because of this, but it's a natural move. Problem is we're getting this pawn back and we might be able to save this now. Alright. Now what we need to do is get into an opposite colour bishop ending. This advance is covered currently. They're trying to get in where? Somewhere. We need to stop that. They're trying to get in here. Okay, I think that's okay. So they go here. I think we can go here, and then we can try and get some counterplay. Okay. Got to stop the pawn advancing. Maybe we should drop the bishop back. Okay, now we've got this. Cool. Oh shit, they can advance. Bollocks. Bollocks. We're going to end up with our bishop on a8, which is not what we want. Alright, I'm going to risk this because I think they can't go here and they can't go there. This looks like we might be getting somewhere. Oh! Hanging bishop. Thank you very much. No way have we got out of this one. This is insane. We're going to take this bishop. They're going to try and fork us, and we're going to take this. They're going to trade rooks. It's going to be forced. Wow. This is insane. This is insane. Okay. They're going to win this back, but are they? Is there a mate? Can we force a mate? Can we find a checkmate? We go here. They go there. We take that. Rook takes. I feel like there's a mate. Okay. Let's at least attack the king. We just want the king on a light square. This one. This one. Ah, shit. That was really bad. Ah, bollocks. Bollocks. Oh, that is so gross. That is just... Oh, God. That's the worst. I can't believe I just fell for that. That's disgusting. After we've done all the hard work, I got overexcited. Alright. Now let's just try. Oh, that's just disgusting. How do we allow that? How do we let them off with that? That's just ridiculous. Just the... Oh. Okay. Probably a check is coming. Gonna go there. They might just mate us. No, not quite. Okay. Gonna get toasted. Well, we're already toasted. I can't believe that. That's just the worst thing ever. Right, this is coming. That looks really bad. All we had to do was put the bishop back here, right? Give it back up for the pawn, and have a drawn rook and pawn, rook and king ending, rook ending. But instead, we decided to just let them fork our king and rook, and I mean they're just going to take this pawn now, and that's game over. And there's no point continuing. Well played. That's just. Let me show you. Just giving away the rating points. So there'll be a point here where the graph will dip. Yeah, black's actually winning. So somewhere around here. Yeah. So this was a big blunder. We get the bishop back. And then we just need to play bishop c6. And my thinking was... Okay, it's a winning ending. So the queen, we take, they go here, and what's the point? Rook b2. Ah, okay, so we just go and win another pawn. Ah, missed that. To be honest, I didn't even see I was a pawn up in that ending. I tried to keep the bishop on, and that was just a bad, very, very bad decision. Fair enough, good game, well played, but still, nah, that's disgusting. That's put a stain on the stream. Sorry to put it that way. It has. It's besmirched the stream. Alright, back in the Schlechter. Oh, this should be right, okay. Final game. Let's see if we can get a good game out of this. So bishop f3. Bishop d6 played rapid fast. Knight goes to e2. And it can't go to f3, it's occupied. Knight coming to d7, what's that all about? You either want to play c5 or e5, I'm guessing. We probably want to play knight d2 when the bishop's on d6, so that we can get the knight to c4 within tempo to try and take it off. So, but I think we should castle first and just see what they're up to. They'll probably castle. e5, fair enough. That's kind of what I thought they might be up for. This looks like it's going to trap our bishop. I guess we could play knight g3 to prevent that, but we could also take this pawn. Then they're going to play knight e5, and that's going to hit our bishop. So I think we should probably play knight g3. Guess then they can take this pawn. We take back d4. There is bishop c5 and stuff, but it seems too soon. We're going to get rook e1 and stuff in that position, so let's go ahead with that. I mean, on e4 we could even play rook e1 first. Okay. We can't play knight d2, I guess, because this is going to hang. I still don't want to capture this and just allow the knight, their knight to get to e5 for free. That feels wrong. We could play bishop g5. I feel like we should solve the problem of our queenside development somehow. So what about bishop e3? That allows knight g4. This might be okay, I guess. h6, we can take the knight, knight takes. Or maybe here we can actually take the pawn. Maybe not. Okay, so what about knight c3? That does at least threaten knight b5. Probably that's what we want to do. Okay. Let's try and keep it going. Try and keep it flowing. Oh, that last game was just way too much. Way too much. Okay, let's not worry. Let's not worry. We can round it off. We can round it off, you know. I mean, we're gonna get out 2-2 at the very least, which isn't bad for a stream. But 3-1 would be decent. And besides which, you know, it's all about the fun, isn't it? You know, it's not about winning. It's not all about winning. I mean, obviously not. Now then, we could do that, but we could play knight b5. Maybe that's better. Why? c5 is not possible. I feel like knight b5 is what you want to do. Just start doing something. Get the knight to d4, sorry. I guess it's bishop c5. That's a natural idea. Move the bishop and protect d4. And then we could perhaps play bishop f4, and we're starting to bishop f4. We're starting to put pressure on c7. And we can also take on d4 after this, right? So I'm going to go knight b5 because I think that's the way to go. What could our opponent do? I guess they want to do this, right? Alright, but then at least we can capture this. And if they do take us, we can play queen f3 maybe, or maybe knight f3. So this is a problem. This is a problem. Don't like it. Alright. At least on knight e5 we might get to take on d6. Maybe we don't, because then just queen d6 defends d4, so I guess knight e5 is a move. We have to play knight d4. They're going to capture this, we're going to take back with the queen, and they're going to play bishop g4, and we're going to wonder why the hell we allowed them to play e5 and hit our golden bishop. So, difficult. Pavlos en passant. Okay, so he's done this, which I didn't think was the best idea, honestly. Now bishop f4 is good because it covers e5. This pawn is still attacked, but it also threatens knight c7. Or even bishop c7 with a tempo on queen. So that looks good. There's no knight d5 to attack our bishop. There's no, which would be a good move because it will protect c7. But our bishop is covering that square. So I quite like bishop f4. Is there anything else? We could play knight takes. That's probably a good move. We're playing gambit style. Yeah, I think we should just keep the pressure. Right, try to keep the pressure up. Bishop f4. And if here c6 is played, see the great thing now is that there's no knight e5. I Black really should have played knight e5 while they had the chance. Or while it was easy, and while it came with a clear tempo, or gave me a problem of hitting this bishop on f3, which I do not want to part with. But they've missed that opportunity, I think. Now if they would play c6, I mean, there's many things we can do there. The knight could land on c7. The knight can land on c7, hitting this rook. You know, if the rook moves, then I mean, we can just land here. And just win in exchange. I think we can just win in exchange here. Knight c7. And you know, we're fairly well developed, I'd say. It's just this bishop's kind of a little bit rough. Okay, rook here. We go there. They take. We take this. An exchange, right? We blundered a pawn. We had a bad position. I think we should just take the exchange. Honestly, I think black is probably still totally fine. But maybe we should just take the exchange. Is this a thing? That's a very good point. Maybe it's not because there's... Oh yeah, I think it might be actually. Oh no. Ah, this super bishop. What a brilliant piece. Alright, okay. So they can't attack this bishop. Except by means of something like g5. I mean, they could actually play g5. They could play g5. I mean, that's insane. Okay, but it doesn't work, does it? Because my next move is gonna... Oh no, it does work. Would they play g5? Would you dare play g5? Maybe they will. Right? All right. Or we can take this. Or we can play this. There's another option. Actually, maybe that's annoying. Queen e7, rook e1. And where's the queen actually go from there? Oh, fucking hell. The queen's trapped. It's time to start putting pieces in the way and stuff. Wow. As if the queen's trapped. Queen e7 or e8 is rook e1. Right? d6 is not available. The e-file isn't available. So the queen is going to have to... Something's going to have to go in the way. Well, what can go in the way? This knight gets captured. This knight gets captured. With an attack on the queen, which is important because our knight's attacked. Alright, I think that seals it. So bishop c7, queen e7, rook e1. Probably queen e1. Okay, let's give it a bash. Bishop c7, queen e7, rook e1. Then I'm anticipating queen e1 because, I mean, what else? Knight d5, rook d, right, knight e4, rook e4. Knight e5, rook e5. Both of those attack the queen. Then you might have queen d7. So that might be it out. Queen e7, rook e1, knight e5, rook e5, queen d7, with the idea that, you know, the knight's attacked, but so is the bishop. Unfortunately, we've got rook takes c5 in that position, so that doesn't work. Okay, so knight e5, rook e5. Cool. Yeah, exactly. Now they're going to take this. Cool. Okay. So we've got a good position. We've got a good position because these pawns are not good. We've gained a load of material. This rook can't land here at the moment, and we just need to keep going. So what about this? Get the queen out. Or actually just get the bishop here. Just get the bishop here. Or we could play b4. Where does the bishop go? We could trade that bishop. It has to go here. We could actually just trade that bishop. Straight up trade it. Don't really like that though. It's an important decision. But what about this? Takes, and then just rook d1. Yeah, they can play rook a2, but we get rook d4. There's no way of defending that pawn. I like that. Somehow I just like that. It doesn't play knight f5. Oh, here's fun. Here's fun. After bishop b6, we could play bishop d6. But then there's rook e8. Okay, let's not mess up our queen side. It's probably not a good idea. Maybe we can just go here, get the bishop to a good square, and just see what they've got to offer. Yeah, we're allowing them to trade and play knight f6 and bishop d3. But we're kind of saying, yeah, but we've got a bishop pair, we've got good material. Well, that's a check, so we can take that, and there's no they'll take back with the knight. But we're also, it's not mandatory. Can we take that and say we get material back? I don't think we can. Okay, I'm just going to take this with check. I'm just going to play queen d2. Right, not going to worry about this. The queen's on a dark square, which kind of makes sense. I'm not really sure why, but it seems to. This bishop moves, we take this and we pick up an exchange. Or we seem to. So perhaps the knight will go here, trying to trade off the queens, our bishop pair. But I mean, we can just trade and play rook e1, and then... Okay, so he's gone. That makes sense. That is a sensible move. That makes sense. We're going to drop back here, I think. And we're going to try and get rook e1. I think that's what we need to do fast. Or maybe we should play h3. We seem to kind of be in control of the position. We're just not in control of the clock, as usual. They're going to try and double. I mean, if they manage to double... I mean, we've got control of this square, right? They're going to have to give up a pair of rooks to land here. And if we get our king here, it should be fairly safe, because the bishop is controlling the open diagonal. The diagonal that we've opened. Expected. I expected this move. Okay, knight coming in here. Fine. See what's going to happen. Let's just allow this, and this, and this, and this. Queen back to d2. And then we'll play h3. Maybe we shouldn't have allowed. Maybe we should have played h3 first, actually. Yeah. Maybe we should have played h3 first. Because now we've just given them the e file for free, which we shouldn't have allowed. Right, h3 if they double rooks. Then they would own the e file, actually, so fair point. Okay. Okay, well, I don't think that was a good move for them. Or certainly, I don't think it was the best idea. Now, we can bring the queen up here, and that looks kind of problematic. But we don't want to allow this at any time, so let's just do that. And now just use a queen to just start eating the pawns. Right. We worried about that. It's just... I think we're okay here. there are back rank problems now. If they take with the bishop, for example, it's going to be queen f4, threatening queen b8. Okay, I think this is okay, but there's also this which threatens this, and and this, and I don't see what black's actually doing. Okay, so let's just go ahead like so. We'll take the b5 pawn. Point is that they can't take this, right? Because we're actually threatening queen d8, which will lose a rook and probably lead to checkmate after a bishop d6. But we probably shouldn't allow this pawn to be captured. Actually, maybe we went the wrong way here. Bishop b6. We're gonna have to take this. They're gonna capture that, but then I mean maybe we've got this actually, which looks pretty cool. All right, we might just be in control due to the back rank mate. I think their choice to double rooks with rook e8, allowing us to trade on e7, rather than forcing the trade on e1 and coming in with rook e8, was bad. It seemed to just give us the initiative. Let's see what's played here. I think you've got to play bishop b6, right? I mean, yeah, now we'll take this. And if they take on c2, we've got queen c4. And we're threatening this and this, so I guess they've got to go here. Maybe we've got to be careful there. I think we've now got a bit of a problem. At least if they attack our queen, we can come in like so. And then we might just be able to attack that pawn and win it. But we shouldn't, I really shouldn't have allowed this move, which covered the back rank mate square. Is this check ever a problem? I don't think so. Although, I mean, maybe it is. Okay, I think we just got to go here. Okay, now that rook is attacked, we're also threatening queen b8, so probably you got to go here. Then we can go here because there's no rook takes e5. Pawn's just going to advance now. So I think we've got big problems. Just trying to get this bishop out of the way. Probably this is a good move. We really need to get our bishop here. Do we go here? I feel like we've probably got to go here. Now the pawn can't advance yet. Oh, it can. He's got this rook move. We fucked it. Okay, we're covering the square. Rook here. We have to go queen b4, I think. Now this pawn cannot advance. And then we've got to stick our bishop behind it. Oh, we really made a hash of this. Like, we should never have allowed this counterplay. It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Now we're threatening mate. I think we've just lost this now. We should have gone behind the pawn. Oh dear. This is so disappointing. Alright, so we're a piece down. Oh, that's just the worst. Like, I can't believe we just gave that game away. I mean, it's just the most disappointing. All right. Now we're losing this pawn, and I mean, Jesus Christ. All right, what can we do? Try to take some pawns. Alright, so our opponent has to make something happen, but that shouldn't be very difficult at all. Might just bring the bishop down here, and we're getting toasted. So how do we respond to that idea? Okay, so they want to trade queens. Of course, we don't want to trade queens, so queen d4. A4. Oh, but this is just so disappointing. I mean, come on. That's two games where we had such good positions. Should have been wins, and they're going to both be losses. These are important moments. I don't think we've got any chance here, but oh well, let's just do this. Do they just go there? I think they just go here, and we're lost. Well, we'll go here, and at least we can take this. And we actually can take that next. Lots to think about, lots to ruminate on, lots to regret, but lots to learn from. What are they trying here? Oh, we've got to go here. There's no two ways about it. Now I guess we could try to bring the king somewhere. We prevented the advance of the pawn, that's all we could really ask for. Okay. We can try and attack this bishop. I'm probably going to sit the bishop here. Oh, that would be a bad move because we get forked. Skewered rather, so I guess we've got to go here. G5, we drop back in. But really, I mean, we just got thoroughly toasted in this game. Oh, we could have actually... Okay, try and take this pawn. I don't really know what we're doing here. We can never give it a check to the king, so it's kind of pointless. Okay, at least we've covered this advance. Now we're going to try and push f5. That won't work, unfortunately. It's queen e5. So maybe we need to go g3 first. This is looking like nothing's going to work. At least they can't advance. Alright, g4. So yeah, by all means. Oh, my queen was hanging. Alright, let's have a quick look, because just see the awfulness. How bad was it? So black was already in control there, but we let it slip. So we have queen g5 here. Queen g5, didn't even think of that. That's interesting. Just all about the e-file, and already black's equalized. Okay, yeah, because they should have taken on e1. Okay, queen g5, that's interesting. Queen g5 forcing... I would have thought bishop g6, but you can play. Yeah, okay, it's just a skewer. Oof, that's disappointing. Okay, queen g5 was in the position, just missed it. But so let's just go back here. But bishop c7 was the top move. Rook e1, queen e1. So we did really well to get here. We just missed in the critical position here. Knight f5. I was thinking about that, but I didn't really see what the point of it was. Queen d2. We played knight e4 in the end. We still have a good position. Oh, rook d8? What? Bishop d8. Oh, bishop d8. Oh, come on. Just get rid of this knight. Probably. Okay, so we missed many opportunities. Bishop d8 was good. Instead, we missed queen g5, and now we still had a great position here. Queen f4. Wow. Just queen f4. I mean, it's so obvious. Wow. Okay. And already difficult. So at this point, I think we're already in a bad spot. Bishop e4 was coming. Yeah. Queen e6. Queen d7 necessary. Okay. Maybe you can still hang on, but that was... Yeah, that was poor. Oh well, never mind. 2 in, 2 out. It's not so bad. Look, we'll be back next week. We'll keep trying. We'll keep trying to improve, and we are steadily improving. I think we're getting there slowly. But yeah, we'll be back with more from Full Ball Vision, and you know what? We'll probably have the light on.